Mr. Chairman, Ranking Member Meeks, distinguished colleagues on this committee. First of all, let me just say I have very much appreciated working with you these past 4 years, working with the Ranking Member. I think we've done good and important things together.
Antony Blinken, Secretary of Genocide, butcher of Russia.
Remind the audience members, disruption of committee proceedings is against the law. Holding up signs or making verbal outbursts during the proceedings is disruptive and will not be tolerated.
Over those 2 decades.
You scum! The blood of your victims will stay.
Committee will come to order.
People will never let you forget.
Committee will suspend
You've
while
killed
the
hundreds
Capitol
of
Police
thousands in your cozy little
restore
office.
order.
You fucking slide.
Committee will come to order. The gentleman will continue.
In January 2021, the Taliban was in the strongest military position it had been in since 9/11, and we had the smallest number of U.S. forces in Afghanistan since 2001. Despite the profound effects of the Doha Agreement, President Biden ultimately opted to implement the previous administration's decision to withdraw American troops and honor his pledge to end our nation's longest war. To the extent President Biden faced a choice, it was between ending the war or escalating it. Had he not followed through on his predecessor's commitment, attacks on our forces and allies would have resumed, and the Taliban's assault on the country's major cities would have commenced. That would have required sending tens of thousands more U.S. forces back into Afghanistan to defend ourselves and prevent a Taliban takeover, with at best the prospect of restoring a stalemate and remaining stuck in Afghanistan under fire indefinitely, to what had been a moribund special immigrant visa program to bring Afghans who had worked by our side over 20 years to the United States. Even as we work to address the places where we fell short, I firmly believe the President's decision to withdraw from Afghanistan was the right one. American troops are no longer fighting and dying in Afghanistan. The American people are safer and more secure. In fact, many of the most pessimistic predictions have been thoroughly disproven.
And President Biden announced his unconditional surrender to the Taliban on April the 14th, 2021. You demanded that Embassy Kabul remain open, no matter what the cost. Your personnel opposed that. In fact, they did so in a cable dissent that we were able to get from you in our discovery process, a cry for help. The chairman of the Joint Chiefs to the CENTCOM commander, Millie McKenzie, said this was a fundamental mistake, a fatal flaw, and their biggest regret is keeping the embassy open despite the advice of your own people on the ground and military advisors. Why did you do that?
Very simply, because no one anticipated that the government and the Afghan armed forces would collapse as quickly as they did. We anticipated, and every intelligence assessment that we had anticipated, that Kabul would remain in the hands of the government and the hands of the Afghan armed forces through the balance of the year and into the next year.
Reclaim my time because I want to say.
Let me finish.
I will let you finish.
The chairman of the Joint Chiefs, Mark Milley, said, "Nothing I or anyone else saw indicated a collapse of the army or the government in 11 days. The DNI, Avril Haines said, in the days leading up to the Taliban takeover, intelligence agencies did not see collapse as imminent. This unfolded more quickly than they anticipated, including in the intelligence community."
Okay, reclaim my time. I hear what you're saying, that no one saw the collapse coming. However, I've read the dissent cable, your embassy personnel, that you provided to me, that they sent to you in July before the collapse in 2021, warning of Afghanistan's imminent collapse, fearing for their safety. You personally read this, sir, and cleared it. Your Deputy Secretary, Brian McKeon, testified before this committee that you took no step to answer the cries for help. And as you know, Secretary of State, you have a responsibility to protect Americans and diplomats.